Bran Mkhwanazi sends to Ket Matlala, I'm going to quote as extracted from the WhatsApp, that today is the day and Matlala should just stand back. So this is what Mkhwanazi is telling Matlala, that today is the day, just stand back. And we know that the minister's letter was signed on the 31st of December. And Bran Mkhwanazi is talking about the disbandment of the team on the same day to Matlala. So which means he knows that it's going to happen on the very same day.
Sorry, General. You've only read that today is the day you should stand back. Where do you read that they are talking about the disbandment of the task team?
It's extracted from other communications that are happening in the phone. That's why I'm saying, commissioners, I don't want to go deeper into other extracts. The team is going to come and explain. I'm just highlighting the issues that concern me. That while I'm fighting the disbandment of the team and I'm trying to ask myself a question, who's behind this? There was a concern that Matlala had about the search that happened in his house. And this then influenced the response from Mkhwanazi, saying that stand back and relax, today is the day, about the disbandment of the team. That's why I'm saying that on the day that Mkhwanazi knows about the disbandment of the team, I had said earlier on record, dear commissioners, that Chief of Staff said to me, the letter was drafted somewhere and it was sent to the minister and back and forth until it was signed. So whoever that drafted the letter, I hope Bran Mkhwanazi will have a knowledge as to who the person is. If it is not him, who then the person is that was drafting this letter that was going to the Chief of Staff and eventually been signed by the minister. And on the 1st of January, while all of you, January 2025, while South Africans are celebrating the New Year, Bran Mkhwanazi informed Mr. Matlala that he will be meeting with Minister Mkhunu and DNC Lieutenant General Sibiya. The text reads as follows. Good day, I have arranged a meeting for Sibiya and the minister. Must have a solution. So this is the 1st of January 2025. The context of these meetings that must be arranged, I do not know. But you can begin to see that there is a link between the minister and General Sibiya and perhaps Ket Matlala, because he is talking about that is going to be arranging these meetings. So later that evening, this was around about 22 minutes to 11 in the evening, Mkhwanazi sent another message to Brown indicating that this is the 1st of January, commissioners, in the evening.
General, apologies. Yes, I was correcting that.
To Ket, not to Brown.
I beg your pardon?
You said he sent it to Brown. I'm saying
Mkhwanazi sent it to Matlala.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. They sometimes confusing me. Forgive me, commissioners. Yes, Bran Mkhwanazi sent a message at 22:38 in the evening. He sends it a WhatsApp to Matlala indicating that the task team that came to your house and harassed you has been dissolved or disbanded. That's a message that is written by Mr. Mkhwanazi to Mr. Matlala.
In general, by this point, you still don't know.
We don't know anything.
You only came to know about it on the 2nd of January.
Exactly.
The disbandment decision, that is.
Exactly. And from the record, as we investigate, commissioners, I can confirm most likely, I'm not saying that is the truth, that even the National Commissioner's Office that were recipient of the letter that was dispatched on the 31st, they received it late in the afternoon, I think after 4. So ordinarily, people working in the office by that time, it's a New Year's Eve, they're most likely not in the office. But that's when it was dispatched from the Chief of Staff to the office of the National Commission. But Bran Mkhwanazi knows about it on a public holiday. And there's no one in the office then, in the evening, he then sends this message to Ket Matlala. So, if I move forward, commissioners,
You should now be at your paragraph 209.
oh yeah, yes, Matlala then gave a response, but his response was not on the 1st, it was the following day, the 2nd of January. And he wrote on his message response, oh really? I see you tried calling me last night. When is this happening? This is Matlala asking Mkhwanazi, and Mkhwanazi responded on his WhatsApp. He says they got the letter on Monday. As we speak, they are bringing all the dockets to Spear. So I'm bringing this to the commissioners. This is a person who's not in the police. He already demonstrated. He sent me the copy of the OPs and the likes a year before. And now he's talking about the dismantlement of the units and the dockets that are moving to Spear. Although a couple of months later, Spear write letters demanding these dockets must come from KZN and come up. So Mkhwanazi already knew that it's going to happen. It's here and it's written.
Can I just confirm? So on the 2nd of January, if you would just remind us, on the 2nd of January, General Sibia hadn't yet demanded the dockets.
No.
You said the 2nd of January.
Yeah. No, nobody. This letter went out to the public first on the 2nd of January. That's when he became aware of it.
Yes.
And remember, I said the National Committee was not around. The letters came, I think, a month or so later.
Okay.
The first communication from Jarasbia. And the other communication that followed thereafter.
Thank you.
But the letter of the minister, which I want to draw the attention to of the commissioners, that the letter of the minister to disband the political killings task team addressed only 3 things. Which when we are investigating, we are dealing with drug operation in Gauteng. And we know these drugs are coming from outside the country, coming in here, they get processed and get distributed. Western Cape become one of the affected provinces because of these drug wars. But the letter of the minister addresses these 3 things. One of them, it's about the discussions that they must have on borders, border policing. There must be engagement with regard to border policing. We know that there is an agency that was established by government, and there is this discussion about moving some responsibility from the South African Police Officer Service to Home Affairs in terms of border security. So, but this is what the minister is talking about. They need to address the border things. And the second item the minister is addressing on the letter is a suspension of the filling of position at crime intelligence. I don't know what of an interest is that, but he put a stop to the filling of vacancies at crime intelligence. That's why to date, there are a lot of vacancies that we have. The head of crime intelligence, KZN, has still not been appointed from that time when that one retired until now. The minister put a stop on the filling of vacancies. The third thing that is addressed on the letter is the closure of the political task team. He just talks about the close of the team, that it doesn't add any value in policing in our country. And it ends there. It doesn't say anything about the case dockets. It does not mention that these dockets must move from point A to point B. It doesn't say, it doesn't touch the dockets. He only speaks about the closure of the team. So that's what the letter is. That's why the surprise on Mkhwanazi's message seems to suggest that Spear, the dockets have been brought to Spear. And to confirm that, this Mkhwanazi, I think he wanted to give assurance of his knowledge of this correspondence, that Mkhwanazi forwarded that letter of the disbandment of the team, which is signed by the Minister of Police. He forwarded that letter to Matlala. So he sent him the letter that's supposed to be internal letter from the Minister of Police to the National Commissioner, signed on the 31st, and the first is a holiday. The second, Bran Mkhwanazi has the letter, and he sends this letter to Ket Matlala.
How did he do that? Did he attach it to the WhatsApp?
He attached it to the WhatsApp. So I must indicate, as I conclude on this one, that at the time, neither myself, the National Commissioner, or the project manager, General Khumalo, knew about this decision to close. So it is something that the team picked it up when they are continuing the investigation. Had we not arrested this Kat Matlala and have access to that phone, we probably might not have known about this. So this is just to display the level of connectivity that Brian Mkhwanazi has in the police. Well, he said it in public that, which is on the record on TV, that he was with a part of the operation to bring Thabo Bester into the country. He said that. And I know that Jarkhan was in that operation too. So it's something on the side that will need to be checked that I don't want to delve into. The special task force were in that operation too. That flew over to that country, although they didn't get off the plane. They picked up these people and they came back. So how that operation was done, how was it coordinated? But it was not authorized by General Khumalo as the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, for sure. So I'm not going to delve into that. But Brian Mkhwanazi maybe is invited here. He will have to explain this involvement that he has, because he's not registered as a source in the police, but he has access to everything in the police. So I'm at 2 and 3, so I'm not sure should I move on.
And that's the conclusion of your testimony as regards the executive. However, when we're dealing with, I think, business people yesterday, we stood down some paragraphs because they involve Mr. Mkhwanazi as well, and we said we'll deal with them today. And you should pick it up from paragraph 240 at page 74 of your statement. So it will be 240 to 242.
Okay. Again, commissioners here, as a team, because they've extracted a lot of information, and one of the conversation that is there between Brian Mkhwanazi and Kat Matlala on the 26th of January, Brian Mkhwanazi sends a message to Matlala reminding him to submit his invoice. So from the intelligence gathering, commissioners, I'm informed that Matlala did provide a proof of his invoice that was submitted, and the payment that was supposed to be made to him from the SCPS contract that he had with the South African Police Service to be expedited. And after that, Mkhwanazi sends a screenshot of his conversation with the Minister Mkhunu, including that he plans to have a meeting with the Deputy National Commissioner, General Sibia, and the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, to discuss the finalization of Khumalo and General Mkhwanazi matters. This is a conversation they are having, the two of them. That, yes, there are two General Mkhwanazis in the police. It's myself and the one who's acting in Mpumalanga. One might conclude that maybe they are talking about the one in Mpumalanga, but it is a team of KZN that is involved with investigation in Gauteng. That's why I concluded that it's me that has been discussed here. I do not know what discussions they are having, but there is a communication that is attached, commissioners, there and annexed to our document.
Let me assist you there, General. At page 75, it's a blue screenshot. However, we've updated your file's overleaf as the enlarged version of it. That would be page 75.1 for easier reading. Thank you.
Commissioners, this is available. I don't have to read everything that is there, but this is just an indication of the communication about the meetings that are in Durban. What is of an interest on these commissioners, as I read it, is that in the message that he sends is that he is in Durban and is talking about is a Phoenix saga, which relates to a lady, and that was just a question mark as to what Phoenix saga is there, which is part of what the team is investigating. There's something that was happening in Durban that he was communicating with the minister about. But in the end of that conversation, that's where he brings me, if you go towards the bottom, that's where he's talking about the employment of cybersecurity people that supposed to assist. I do not know what his involvement with the cybersecurity, but it is there. And that's where, in the same conversation, he makes a reference to the funding. And as Gerald Kumar and team are going to come here, they're going to show you that he had facilitated the funding of the guest of the Minister of Police when they attended the ANC rally in Cape Town. There's receipts, there's proof, there's hotel accommodation, and there are many things that the team has collected that they're going to come here and display. But I was just extracting this, and I wanted to focus on the last paragraph when he says also meeting with the DNC and the Chief of Staff today in Durban for finalization of Khumalo and Jaram Mkhwanazi's matter. That drew my attention as to what is it that they are planning, what is it that they are discussing, which a conversation happened in January, as I said, of 2025. As an extract from the WhatsApp.
General, you say this is a screenshot found in Matlala's phone.
That's correct.
And sent to him by Brown Mkhwanazi.
Yes.
So it's not found in Brown Mkhwanazi's phone.
No. We have not gone to Brown Mkhwanazi because the investigation, the team is dealing with the cases that are before them. And the cases that are before them involve Kat Matlala. We have not registered any case against Brown Mkhwanazi. So he's not a suspect of anything. That's why you couldn't just go to him at the time and conduct a search and pick up things, because we'll be victimizing people. Why would you do that? If there's no case, we have no reason to go after him. So, but as we are picking up these things, we then see this communication. And I must indicate, commissioners here, if you look at the top of that screenshot, Brown Mkhwanazi have served the person that he was communicating to when he made the screenshot as Senzo Mchunu. It is Brown Mkhwanazi that I guess is going to be invited to indicate who did he save with the name Senzo Mchunu. It could be someone else. I'm not saying that it's a minister. He might have used the minister's name, but he saved someone else. But I guess the evidence is going to be produced on this. We'll be able to investigate and determine who will he save as a Senzo Mchunu.
The greeting, though, does say morning minister, but
exactly.
That does not necessarily detract from what you have just said.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that if he comes and denies that that is not Senzo Mchunu, it's someone else, but then if he addressed morning minister, it could be another minister that is saved as Senzo Mchunu. So as we connect the dots, this is a picture that is appearing that, okay, there's this relationship. And again, we haven't gone to Brown Mkhwanazi's phone. We have not gone to Minister Senzo Mchunu's phone. Equally so, to check these conversations. So I think that's just about everything. Essie?
You had touched, General, on a question of funding. I just want to check. Is it what's reflected at item 2 of that message? Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about something else?
That is correct. So the conversation here that talks about the funding of 20, we really didn't know what is funding of 20, because we know the people that were funded earlier in January, they were less than 20 that went to Cape Town. The flights were booked and everything, paid off by Kat Matlala.
Yes.
And so this discussion about the funding of 20, and to make a reference that this person is the one I said has a 3 billion contract with SAPS. We know, I don't know whether there's a 3 billion contract somewhere. I know that Kat Matlala had a contract with SAPS of 360 million rand. So I do not know what is a 3 billion contract is. But these are conversation screenshots that he sends to Kat Matlala.
We will pick it up with another witness. Perhaps better clarity will be provided then. Is there anything else you would like to draw the Commissioner's attention to insofar as the screenshot is concerned?
Of Brown Mkhwanazi?
Yeah, insofar as Brown Mkhwanazi is...
No, Commissioners, for me, I conclude that the Minister invited this Brown Mkhwanazi, or he shared too much of the police things with a person who's not supposed to be part of the police. And this Brown Mkhwanazi seems to suggest that from reading of everything that he has a real influence to the Minister. The Minister has an ear to this Brown Mkhwanazi, so he's able to speak things and to the Minister, for Minister to believe, and he knows what's happening in the police, but not only at the Minister's office. He also knows what's happening with the investigations, indication that him and General Sibiya have contacts, and he seems to have access to come intelligence. That's why he will bring General Khan to the picture. So this is a person that we know that if he claims he went to Tanzania, he will have perhaps been a companion of General Khan. So it's a person that has wide range of access into the police, classified information, everything. So he's allowed to dictate terms in how the policing must operate. So if this team did not investigate this Gauteng drug cartel, would not have picked up these things. So the picture then becomes clear that, the lack of disbanding the team, perhaps it had to do with this. But I'm not a minister. The minister will come and conclude and explain himself. Why will he last meet with the National Commissioner on Saturday, and 3 days later he signed such a letter? That is very critical in the operations of the police, without talking to the National Commissioner directly.
Yep.
Please make me understand this. If the issue was about Gauteng, so I assume it's the GCI ops.
That's correct.
What's being disbanded is the PKTT, which, even though it operates in other areas like the Eastern Cape, for example, its focus is KwaZulu-Natal. Now, I hear nothing about, for example, the 10 members, was it 10, I think, that were sent up to assist the GCI ops. I hear nothing that says, and they must be removed from Gauteng and back to the disbanded PKTT. Now, if my thinking along those lines is correct, the question would be, if the issue is about Gauteng and the GCI ops, how does that get disrupted if what is now being disbanded is the PKTT in KwaZulu-Natal?
Commissioner, it is exactly that which triggered my involvement in this. I was minding my business in KZN as a province. I had sent members to go and assist the GCI ops. I started getting report of what's happening in the GCI ops. And I started getting myself being attacked by some journalists in the media putting my stories out there. And I started asking questions, why are these things happening? So as I track back and I'm getting these reports from what this team is doing in Gauteng, and I started connecting the dots and the picture started emerging. They invited me into this thing, commissioners. Had they left KZN with a team like that and dealt with the GCI ops, perhaps I wouldn't be sitting here today. But they invited me into the picture because you are disbanding something that's operating in KZN. That is where I'm responsible for. And you're not giving me the reasons. And I'm trying to reach out to find out what is the reason, and I'm not getting answers. So I keep having question mark as to why, what made you sign this letter? Why are you disbanding this team? Why is it bothering you? And then when I hear what they are doing, those ones in Gauteng, then the confirmation is that it's a missed target. They were worried about the people carrying the dockets in Gauteng. And this country owes the 2 sergeants, very junior members, who started this fire in Gauteng. They don't sleep at home to date. Their families are disrupted. They started this fire in Gauteng. And Kumalo took a responsibility of protecting them with the team from KZN. I suspect that the people that wanted to deal with this too, they could not access them because there was this KZN squad around them. So in thinking that they're seeing the KZN squad, they assume that it is the political killings task team that is running this operation. So to disband the team, you'll see the messages, the instructions of General Sibiya's letter says, shut down members must go back to their units and get every file, every evidence that is in that file. Bring it here. So the interest was on stopping the investigation, and the people that they see in their face is the political killings task team, the 10. They are not aware of a GCI ops. The people that bring the GCI ops into the surface are people within crime intelligence, because the GCI ops operates at crime intelligence. It's a counterintelligence operation. I said earlier, General Khan was acting there and was moved. So this operation is running without him part of it. So it is people from crime intelligence that knows about the operation. That only brings it to the fore. But before the letter, those that maybe influenced the minister, they thought it is a political killings task team. That's why with us having displayed the performance of the team, the meritorious experts of this world, academias, who took an opportunity to talk bad about the team, being influenced by people, will come to this forum and explain where did they get this information from. If the performance is like this, and you are writing this correspondence of saying this team is still a squad, fighting squad, and so forth.
So do I understand you to be saying this, General? There were no instructions at the time of disbandment and even at the time of General Sibiya's letter that related to the GCI ops and the 10 officers from KZN who had gone up to Gauteng to assist. No instructions at all related specifically to the GCI ops and to the 10 who had gone up to assist.
Chair, if I may, before the witness responds, General Mkhwanazi referenced letters where he spoke of the instruction to bring all investigations and what happens to all members of the task team. May I be permitted to direct him to the documents?
May I get that more directly, please?
Okay.
Because the broad statement that all members must go, it could only have been to those who are on the ground, servicing the PKTT as such, and not those that may have left KZN and were in a sense not really servicing the PKTT. So,
Chair, I think what we should do.
I'm not countering what you are saying.
Because it all depends on the wording. It could very well be those who are members of PKTT go back to their respective stations wherever they are located at the time.
Let's get clarity from the
Now, General, if you please go to Annexure MK10. That would start at your page 187. And at the same time, if you could have regard to the second part of MK10, starting at page 190. Those are the two letters you have included, signed by General Sibiya. If you have located them, please start at page 188. In, I think, what you reference in terms of investigations and records is at paragraph 5 and its sub-paragraphs. Then the second letter is the one at 190 is the one that speaks to what must happen to PKTT members.
Okay, Commissioners, this letter is annexed. It's dated the 4th of February 2025. It is authored by Deputy National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sibiya. He addressed this thing to the Divisional Commissioner, Detectives and Forensic Service. Paragraph 5 reads as follows, I quote, "In compliance with the aforementioned directive of the Minister of Police, you are directed to engage with the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence with a view to do a proper handing over and to follow all processes necessary to conduct a handing over process. This includes, but not limited to, 5.1, a status report of all cases. 5.2, a case register wherein all the cases were recorded and current status of court-going cases and cases under investigation. 5.3, all cases or projects, documentation relevant to the political killings task team. This should include all evidential material, documents, electronic recordings, etc. It must be booked into the SCP-13 or in possession of the team or stored in any storage facility. 5.4, all human and physical resources allocated, listed, as well as report on all financial expenditure for the duration of the operation of the task team.
Then you go to the second letter that was started, 190. And in particular, I apologize.
Please repeat what.
It's because I knock it and then it distorts the sound. I was referring you, General, to the letter starting at page 190, still
yes.
part of MK10, and I was saying to the point, perhaps you might want to have regard to paragraph 3 thereof.
This is a letter that was written by Jaros Bia on the 22nd of April 2025. It is addressed to the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence as well as Divisional Commissioner Detectives and Forensic. The headings, the deactivation and disbandment of the National Task Team on Political Killings. Paragraph 3 reads as follows: a final feedback report on the finalization of this process, including confirmation that all task team members have reported back to their stations of origin, is awaited on or before the 25th of April 2025. End quote.
I don't know if that answers your questions, Chair, or whether you'd want General Mkhwanazi to comment further.
Maybe it does, but I would imagine it has to be read in the context of the letter of the 4th of February.
Indeed.
From which I understand everything relates to what the PKTT as such was involved in. So in that context, that would not necessarily mean that everything is being killed, as it were. But if you read the paragraph that the Lieutenant General just read, then it may indeed be read.
But may I also...
It may be read to refer to everybody, because if it says all members must go back to wherever they came from,
and I think
then I would imagine maybe it means that even those that were assisting the GCI ops must...
Perhaps it might assist if I remind the commissioners
just for the transcription, let's avoid it.
Apologies, Chair.
So must be uprooted and go back from wherever they came.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Chair. My apologies. And I was going to say that the points that the Chair makes are very correct. But I wanted to remind us of the testimony of General Mkhwanazi yesterday regarding the secondment of the members of the task team and his ongoing engagements with General Khumalo to determine when it is they could get back to the task team. So in the context of them being expected, the secondment to end and to revert to KZN, at least I read the instruction at page 190 that all members of the task team go back to their respective stations. General Mkhwanazi had indicated that the members of the task team come from various stations and are registered with various stations in KZN. So an instruction that each one of them report back to their stations, I would think by definition extends to those deployed to the GCI ops. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Ms. Silla, I was going to ask this question of the General just to get clarity on that.
Yes, Commissioner.
General, in the time that your 10 members of the task team were seconded to the GCI ops, did they remain members of the task team in the time that they are in Gauteng and assisting General Khumalo?
That is correct, Commissioners. These are members that were part of the task team that moved up to Gauteng.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes.
Chair, you covered.
Yes,
Thank you.
I just wanted to check, do we have the letter dated 17/01/2025?
The one that is referred to in the
paragraph 1.
letter of 22nd. No, we don't. This, if you recall, this would have been directed to the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence. So, it would have, if it were utilized, it would have come before this one in terms of date-wise, but it's not part of General Mkhwanazi's annexures at this juncture. But to the extent that perhaps it might be necessary to complete the scene on this conversation, we will ensure that the next witness, and perhaps the Crime Intelligence Divisional Commissioner, General Khumalo, to ensure that it is in his pack. And at the time of dealing with the issue, then we will cross-reference these annexures. Thank you. Chair, on a statement, we would have completed this part of the evidence, and we're just completed at paragraph 242, which would then take us to 243. Generally, paragraph 243, you start a different topic under the heading political interference. Do you see that?
Yes.
You start this at 243. Will you take your testimony, pick it up from there? Remembering when you go over, leave to skip page 75.1. It would continue then at page 76.
Okay.
When you're ready, thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, this is just to display the level of involvement or intervention that the minister has, or interference that the minister has with regard to the work of the police, which is inappropriate of a person on his level. On this political interference, what I'm displaying here, Commissioners, is that the task team minister issued an instruction in December. And the task team continues to work in KZN. And an incident happens after his instruction on in February, Commissioners, where a councillor is killed in KZN.
And once again, for the record, please give the year of that February. And I think you are talking about what you set out at paragraph 244 of your statement.
Yeah, that's correct. An incident happens in 2024 February where a councillor is killed. And the police arrested two hits.
General, yes.
You said 2024. Your statement reads differently.
2025. My apologies, Commissioner.
And in fact, your paragraph of 244 has got the full date. Perhaps you just might want to take that into consideration.
Okay. On the 5th of February, 2025, after the shooting incident that had occurred in one of the small districts in KwaZulu-Natal, which is called the Lembe district. For those who are familiar, it's in around Palito side. A councillor was killed, Mr. Mapida, and 2 arrests were effected. The station, knowing the procedures that we have, that when an incident of this nature involves councillors, they must communicate with the political killings task team so that they can take over the docket. and the district commissioner directed as such, and that is Major General Gopal. Major General Gopal then contacted me and informed me about his engagement with the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mkhunu.
Before you proceed, can you place into context Major General Gopal? Who is he? Where is he based? What station, if necessary, and his level within SAPS? If you perhaps have regard to paragraph 244.
Major General Gopal is the District Commissioner of Ilembe District. So the incident that happened under his jurisdiction. So General Gopal experienced a situation where the minister calls him and he wants to be briefed about the incident that happened. So the minister didn't bother to phone the National Commission or phone me, but he phones the district commissioner to ask about that incident that involved the matter of a councillor. And General Gopal responded to the minister and explained to him what has transpired and so forth. And then he indicated to him that the case docket has been referred to the political killings task team for investigation. And according to General Gopal, the minister was very unhappy about this. And he asked, why did they give the case docket to the political killings task team? And the General Gopal explained to the minister that this is a standard procedure that we have. The political killings task team, they are better resourced. They've got an investigation capacity and contacts to help investigate the cause of this murder and the people behind it. So the minister had wanted General Gopal to keep him up to date about the status of that investigation, although he was upset about the fact that that docket was given to the political killings task team. So here's a minister who's upset to the district commissioner about who's carrying the docket, instead of appreciating the work done by the police, that they've arrested the perpetrators. But that is not of an interest to the minister. What makes him upset, more focused, is why is the docket given to the task team? This will have been on the 5th of February. And again, on the 15th of February, the minister reached out to General Gopal and seeking update. And the General Gopal then indicated that the information about the status of the case is with the investigating officer from the political killing task team. The least he can do is to send those investigating officers to brief the minister about the status of this case that he was asking General Gopal, because General Gopal is not carrying that investigation. But the minister then responded to General Gopal and said, no, he is covered, which means he does not need that political task team to come and brief him. And General Gopal has deposited an affidavit about that interaction that he had with the minister, which is attached on our records here marked MK21 as a reference. So,
before you proceed, two things, Chair. MK21 is the affidavit, typed affidavit. So it doesn't have signature at the back. We're trying to track down the original affidavit from, which this was transcribed. That goes to page 331. And beyond that is another document that I'm going to request the witness to explain. And then he can speak to the annexure in its totality. General, you understand that the affidavit annexed, purportedly by Major General Gopal in your annexure, is not signed, correct?
Yes.
And attached to that is another document appearing from page 333 which you have combined with that affidavit. I would like to invite you to talk to the second document from 333 and explain to the commissioners what that is.
This is a communication between General Gopal and the Minister of Police as extracted, which reflects the date, the time, a message from the Minister, a response from General Gopal, a message from the Minister, and a response from General Gopal. And it starts from the 5th of February, and it goes down the page as the commissioners will appreciate that the last conversation, it is almost at the end of March where the communications are happening.
I see on this document, it interchanges between Minister Mkhwanazi, such that it will indicate missed voice, and Anthony on the other. Who is Anthony? Do you know?
I beg your pardon, I didn't get it.
If you look at page 333.
Yes.
Let's look at the first entry. It states Minister Mkhwanazi, and then it indicates messages and calls are end-to-end. Encrypted, only people in this chat can read, listen to, or share them. Then it once again references Minister Mkhwanazi and Minister 3 times. The next entry, which is indicated as 5th of February 2025 at 13:33 and 55 seconds. Against that is an entry, Anthony. You deleted this message. My question to you is, do you know who Anthony is?
Anthony, it's Major General Gopal.
Okay.
That is his name.
Thank you for the clarification. And then it continues until overleaf, I think, at page 334. You may proceed. With whatever further comments you wanted to make about this document.
No, the 334, I think, is still an extract from the conversation, the messages that are with General Gopal. It does not necessarily mean that they are with Minister Mkhwanazi per se. But it's part of the conversation that is extracted from General Gopal. It shows the other communication, not necessarily only with the minister.
So how do we read this? Are you suggesting to the commission that from the first entry to about just past the halfway point of the page, I don't want to mention the name that is written there, everything above is a communication between Major General Gopal and the minister, but everything else below, you see there is a word in parentheses before an ID number. Are you suggesting everything below that now no longer involves the minister, but it's communication that is within Major General's telephone?
Commissioner, yes, this communication is not necessarily with the minister, but if you read the last message on 333,
yes,
which is dated the 30th of March 2025 at 10:59 in the morning,
yes,
where General Gopal with the name Anthony, where he typed that minister, local branch may raise concern on candidate as from the charter I picked up, or the chat I picked up. Let me explain to the commission what this communication is about. This communication is not about the case of a councillor. And it's a culture of the experience we have as a police that when the executive authority is engaging on a political project, there's always clear lines about focusing on political issues, but you want to bring the portfolio of being the executive authority and you invite the police to be part of this political program. what had happened here, there was going to be by-elections. A person who was a councillor had resigned from the position. And there was that person, for whatever reason they were having in that political party, he resigned and he joined another political party. So he was campaigning for another political party. So the minister then came into the area as a deployee of his party to assist the campaigning of another candidate to be elected. So part of his, when he arrived, he requested, actually he didn't even communicate with myself nor Gerald Kopal, he communicated with the station commander. He said to the station commander he wants to meet the station management at the police station because he wants to ask them about a case. The case allegedly that involves the councillor that had resigned from this side and moved over campaigning for another political party. So the minister was entrusted to know what is happening with that case because this man has got a case. So, which means they wanted to make sure that he's arrested so he doesn't stand for the other party. So the minister called the station management. The station management communicated to Gerald Kopal. Gerald Kopal was sitting with me and he told me about it and I said, I think you better go there. The minister cannot sit with the station management alone. Go there and find out what's going on. And at the same time, the station had already informed Gerald Kopal on what the minister's specific cases that he wants them to come and account to him about. Remember, he came there for campaigning, for election. But he wants the station to come and explain to him about the status of the case against a competitor for the election. So the station must brief him about it. Gerald Kopal obtained information with regard to the status of the case. So he went to a meeting. I guess the minister was surprised when Gerald Kopal landed there. That the minister suddenly he meets Gerald Kopal is not only station management alone. And then he inquires about this candidate. Unfortunately for the people that are of that political party that minister belongs to, they had a mistaken identity. They thought the case that was opened was against a candidate, but it was against the candidate's brother. Missed target again, like the PKTT and GCI. They missed the target there. And they realized that their complaint is unfounded. But beside that, there was a case. The feedback was given there, which was satisfactory with regard to the status of that case. Although it didn't concern them, but they were told, okay, the case is like this. But the question was, Minister, why would you want the station management to come in account to you about a specific case that involves a person who's competing with you in the political space? So which means if there was a case against this person, he was going to put pressure to the station management to make sure they arrest this person before the local elections that were going to take place. So fortunately, Gerald Kopal intervened. So when you see this communication that is attached here, it's more of a status of the case that Gerald Kopal needed to go and brief the minister about. That's what is here. So this is the type of behavior that we started seeing happening in the province. Well, the results of those elections are there for everyone to know. The person who resigned from this side and competed for this side, who won. It's not our business as the police. We shouldn't get involved with it. But this is the interference that when we talk about the executive authority that end up not knowing where to cross the line comes in. And we experience it a lot in the police.
Thank you, General. Just for the record, we do confirm that we have reached out to Major General Gopal. He would have to come and confirm precisely what the General has said. Is there any other matter you would like to deal with under that heading, political interference, or does that bring you to the conclusion?
So far, in terms of the executives we had in the police, it's the Minister Senzo Mchunu, with this level of interferences that I've displayed, and also General Cele, with the interference in terms of the disciplinary matters that I spoke about earlier. Although we're still going to talk about on the statement about other matters, but those are the two that were within the SAPS that I can flag of their roles. One examples, not many. There are many other examples that I can put out there, but because I want to confine myself to the letter of the 31st of December and what happened thereafter, and to demonstrate how the executive authority get to be involved with operational decision, which is unethical in my understanding, that is crossing the line between policy making and operations, and bring the police to come and use the police as a weapon in political competition like that. We respect all the leaders of our communities. The police, whoever that is a leader of the community, is voted by the people, and we must serve them. That's what we do as government. So that's where I'm going to leave it here for now.
Okay. Thank you. We'll leave it there. The last category, remembering that all this conversation we've had relates to the press briefing you had on the 6th of July by you, collectively as the SAPS members. You had indicated that this interference is from all different quarters, and you listed them. So we've dealt with every category: political, by political women, parliamentarians, executives. You dealt with business people. You had listed the judiciary there as a heading. You picked that up from paragraph 159. If you could turn there. Commissioners, before General Mkhwanazi decided to give one example per category, there were a few examples. In whittling it down and trying to make the evidence, his testimony manageable, the narrative is from page 159. There is a name that appears above that narrative.
Paragraph 159.
159.
Not page, yeah.
Yes, paragraph 159. Thank you. There is a name that appears above paragraph 159. I'm not going to call out. It is wrong. I would like you to please redact that name. And the name must be Vusi Musi Mahlangu. But the rest of the paragraphs stay the same. And as I said, in the process of reduction, the narrative relative to the individual got mixed up. So we apologize for that. I won't even call that name. I'm correct that what you want to testify to in this regard relates to Magistrate Mahlangu. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Then you may start from page paragraph 159.
Commissioners, I had said when I started that we are investigating and evidence comes up that leads into another investigation.
Sorry for that, General. You may continue.
Commissioners, I had indicated that as we investigate, we gather information which leads us into another investigation. As we uncover certain things, it leads us into another investigation. So we end up seeing the picture of everything without knowing at the beginning what will have caused. That's why we end up seeing the picture. So the picture that we started seeing, that I was demonstrating for the 2.5 days, is that the team that was working in KZN, which was supervised by Jar Kumalo, and find themselves having to second members to come to Gauteng to assist the Gauteng police on an operation that is under intelligence that is managed by Jar Kumalo. And this operation in Gauteng was dealing with the drug cartel, and some of them are arrested, the Mulifes, the Matlalas, and there are many others that are a part of the list of what the team have identified. Police officers in part of it, and so forth. Now there are 2 operations, 1 man. 2 operation, 1 division. And this person is at crime intelligence. Is busy with 2 things. Is busy with, actually 3 things. Is busy with an investigation of coordination of KZN political issues. Is busy with the organized crime of Gauteng on one side. but he's busy managing the division that is called crime intelligence, trying to put reforms and fix things up there. Now, the letter of 31 December 2024 that disbands the team, it triggers my inquiry. So as I inquire on what these members are doing, I begin to know about this level of corruption and criminality happening in the Gauteng community around. I stayed too, and they feed me information. Police officers and other private people that still give me information about what's happening in this province. And I'm collaborating that with what the team is telling me. And then I conclude that the target here is to deal with this organized crime investigation, not the political task team. But because the members are here, the people that want to fight this, they think that it's a political task team. So they wrote a wrong letter. They disbanded the wrong team. They were supposed to deal with the Gauteng organized counterintelligence operations, not the political clearance task team. But here we are. Who's part of this Gauteng counterintelligence? It's the very same person who's part of the team. And this person, coincidentally, on the structure which I displayed on the first day, it reports to one person, Gerald Spear. The very same person, in terms of the structure, must communicate with Gerald Spear to the National Commission. In his investigation on organized crime, he sees some linkages and names of Spear that come into the picture. The members that are busy with this investigation, they are engaging with some senior officers in Gauteng that are socializing with some of these drug dealers. And that becomes risky. Now it's within counterintelligence. So when we see the member of parliament who claims in publicly that he was minding his business and next thing underneath his door, there was a report from crime intelligence that flew under his door. He took that report and he went to a police station to open a case. Jarkuma is going to come and present the details about that because there is already an evidence of a communication between a member of parliament and members of crime intelligence, specific Gerald Khan, and the Inspector General of Intelligence, who is the anchor in all this. So what we're seeing happening is that these cases are open in Cape Town. The following day, they are open in Johannesburg. One of the charges in these dockets, which the Member of Parliament is all welcome to open cases if you feel there's something illegal that's happening. But one of the charges is about the appointment of that Ms. Mokwele, who came from BMW, who came into the police, as one of the charges. We know in public space, some so-called Paul O'Sullivans and the likes that have been very vocal about the appointment of that lady, that she was a cleaner at BMW, she's now a brigadier in the police. But I guess a profile and everything will be coming to this so that the commissions can get to see exactly what is it that she was doing there and how much was she paid and what is she doing in the police and what is she paid, how she came about being appointed. That one will be presented later. But when we see a case opened in two provinces and it gets transferred by the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Police to IDEC, and IDEC is in position of this in 2025, towards the end of the year. But the case
apologies, General, and Commissioner Khumalo wanted to correct you. Please consider the year, you say end of the year?
2024.
Okay, you had said 2025. Thanks.
Sorry, so my bad. End of the year 2025, which I referred to earlier, that Mr. Adams, a Member of Parliament, had opened cases in Cape Town and Johannesburg, and that was transferred by the letter of the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Police to IDEC within NPA for investigation. So IDEC had written a letter to the Divisional Commissioner of Detective Service to hand over those dockets, which was done towards the end of 2024. So IDEC is now in possession of complaints. I had said earlier, the report from Inspectorate said there's no elements of crime on this complaint. It's a hearsay. The legal services from the police are saying the same thing. Mr. Adams does not avail himself to be interviewed in order to deal with his complaint. But fast forward, commissioners, General Khumalo and the team, one of the critical two people I'm going to mention in the team is the provincial head of crime intelligence in Gauteng, who started this, who brought General Khumalo into the picture, because he was approached by the head of detectives on Gauteng and said, there are threats against my members, please assist with the threat assessment. It is that General Lukalakala who spoke to Ntuli to conduct that threat analysis, and they reported to General Khumalo. So they invited General Khumalo to get involved as Gauteng. So that Lukalakala is arrested with Khumalo. And the charges that they are arrested for, or the case they are arrested for, it's a case that is with IDEC. The case is opened in June of 2025. But the case has got the same charges, a complaint from Mr. Adams, similar to what Mr. Adams deposited the previous year, 2024, in October in Cape Town and in November in Johannesburg. It's a similar complaint that these members are arrested for by IDEC in June. But what is strange about it, commissioners, is that instead of IDEC working on the complaint of Adams, which had no basis for a complaint, and effect arrest on that, they did not to date. But they sought to get Mr. Adams to deposit another statement, whether it was coached or whatever. He deposited another statement at the beginning of 2025 in January to IDEC, a completely new statement, which now must prove to some degree that there is crime. So that what enabled IDEC to then investigate. In January, the statement is dated. In June, the case is registered. The same June, these members are arrested.
Can you please detail the differences between the two statements for me to follow the point you've just made?
Commissioner, I'm going to invite the team to bring that have been arrested and charged, to bring the copy of the charge sheet and the statement that was deposited in that case docket to come and present to the commission. I don't have it with me, but I have access to it and I read it. So that's why I'm able to draw comparison between this and that. So the question I was asking, but IDEC, why didn't you arrest them on the October and November complaint? Why did you put another statement in January?
That being the complaint of quote-unquote interception.
All what was mentioned in October and November in Cape Town and Johannesburg, one of those was the appointment of this Ms. Mukwele. The arrest is about Ms. Mukwele.
Okay, all right.
But the statement from the complainant, Mr. Adams, is dated January now. It's a new one. Okay. A completely new statement which was retaken. But the case is not a similar case as those two. So it's another completely new case that is registered, as if it's a new thing. But, well, if there's evidence of a crime, I'm not going to argue that. They've got all the rights. If there's crime committed, they must act on it. They've got all the right. But what is strange, Commissioner, I'm going to invite South Africans to go to that court, and if so, demand to see the charge sheet. I'm not a lawyer. Many South Africans are not lawyers, but they will read what is sitting in the charge sheet. And they will know that this, in any given day, it should not have landed in a criminal court of law. But it is there. Magistrate signs the warrant, or IDEC investigator signs a statement and gives it to the prosecutor in IDEC, who signs off that statement. It goes to the magistrate approves the warrant of arrest, and these people are arrested. And they go to court. In court, strange things happen, Commissioner. That's what makes me to then get to worry. That's why I'm talking about it here today. Because one of the strange things that happened, it involves a magistrate who's presiding over a case that the members from crime intelligence are arrested on. He imposed a very bizarre bail condition towards those members. And the bail condition that is imposed by the magistrate in that case against these members from crime intelligence said explicitly that these members who are arrested for facilitating the appointment of Ms. Mukwele from BMW to crime intelligence, apart from going, not, this incident happened in Pretoria in their offices, they are barred not to go into any premises of crime intelligence anywhere in the Republic of South Africa. That's a bail condition. This is not what the state asked for, but this is what the magistrate took it upon himself to impose on these members. Remember, Commissioner said, it's the same team that is busy with the operation of Gauteng counterintelligence operation. They are barred by magistrate to get involved or enter any premises of crime intelligence. So by default, it means the operation that they are busy with against the drug cartel must stop immediately. So, as I said, maybe the magistrate, someone will say, no, he erred, it was an overreach. I don't believe it's that. I believe it was a calculated move to make sure that they put a stop on the involvement of these members with this operation. And I can confirm to date, commissioners, that that operation stopped. While the members are crippling, trying to work, but it's frustrated. But it doesn't end there. It does not end there, because a person who's got an oversight in the runnings of crime intelligence, which is the Inspector General of Intelligence, is demanding the files of that operation. He wants to know what's happening with that operation himself, which is very interesting. Why will the Inspector General be interested on an operation specific? So we have no other reason than to believe that this bail condition, not the arrest, maybe they did wrong during the appointment of this individual that warrants such a case and such charges. Maybe it's justified, but the bail condition is a problem. And for those that follow the case, and I've seen media houses that are here today, they go to court, they listen to the argument, and they go out and they file their reports and they come back to court. The last one was supposed to be on Monday last week. It was postponed because the recording my device was not working in court. And it was just only one courtroom. The others were working. But that one, so there has to be this delay of them coming back. What is strange that happened, which I did not put here, commissioners, is that many of those members that were arrested, one of them that is one of the charges, he's got two charges. The other one I don't want to talk about the prostitute and the loss of a firearm and stuff like that. He has to answer on that case. But he's also charged on the appointment of this Ms. Mukwele. So when the whole lot appeared in court and they were granted bail with those conditions, this one was kept in custody and he appeared alone the following week. When he appeared alone, he appeared before a different magistrate. And the different magistrate made it clear and said, it's not the job of the court to put conditions about where to work, where not to work. We are releasing on bail, go back to work. It is the National Commission of the Police that will decide whether to enter this building or not. Because the state does not say that your being in that building, how is it going to affect the bail condition or the witnesses that are there. So this is a bail condition given to one accused. And this one accused occupied position of a CFO of this secret fund at crime intelligence. He was suspension ends, and he pitched up at crime intelligence to go back to work. And he was told not to go back to work. Yeah, well, National Commission will come and explain the reasons for that, but Ms. Colin Barnard released a publication on that, and she was very aggressive towards the National Commissioner, saying that the National Commissioner does not even know the terms of the bail condition of this person. The court said this person must not enter the building of crime intelligence. She said that, and she wrote it down, and the bail condition does not say that. So it means she missed that the other magistrate is the one who came with the condition, but the other one that affects this CFO did not say that. But she is of an opinion that this person is not supposed to enter the buildings of crime intelligence. So therefore, and I'm told by the National Commission going to come here that the head of IDEC phoned the National Commission and said that person must not come back to that building, the CFO, despite that the bail condition does not demand that. So this is just to show that there are all the efforts that have been put in place, not against the members of crime intelligence that are accused of appointing a wrong person. If they did that, they must be penalized. It's fine. But there's an overreach in getting to frustrate this project. So this is part of the ongoing things that are happening as we are sitting here today. That the project against Matlalas, against Mulifes and the others is being frustrated because the people responsible for this project are told by the magistrate never to enter the premises where this project is running.
So in short, General, you are saying someone must have influenced the first magistrate.
Commissioner, you are a judge. I'm sure, I don't know whether you will have access to get to see the charge sheet. You will make your conclusion, and you are all legal experts, whether was the statement from the investigating officer, or so-called investigating officer, I must qualify that. The investigating officer, Mr. Padayachi from IDEC, which was deposited, was brought to the magistrate seeking the approval of the warrant of arrest, whether was it justifiable for the magistrate to sign it. Then fast forward, you're coming to court. In court, you have a magistrate that comes with these bail conditions, whether was it justified. So behaviors of both senior people within the court, it makes me conclude that it's a part of a plan to frustrate this project. So I invite the commissioners to have access into this record in court so that we can move to see what are they charged for and what crime did they commit. And while on that, I'm going to invite you to, I spoke about IDEC yesterday, that the arresting officer, which the court gave instruction on the bail condition that if these members want anything at crime intelligence premises, they must contact an investigating officer, Mr. Padayachi. Mr. Padayachi has never touched a case docket in his life. It's a person who's an ex-employee of the police. It's an individual who's an ex-crime intelligence member. But he's a head of that investigation against these members of crime intelligence. It is the magistrate that grants this Padayachi a right to have access to crime intelligence. If these members want anything at crime intelligence, they must talk to him. So we invite the commissioner to go and check on the record of the appointment of Padayachi in IDEC, his qualifications, and IDEC may will come here and justify why did they choose such a person to become a senior investigator at IDEC that is charged with the responsibility of dealing with serious crime, and yet to bring a person who retired from the police to become a head of investigation at IDEC with no qualification whatsoever on investigations, and grant that person an authority to be the one that is going to handle these matters. So I invite the commissioner to go deeper into that matter. I don't want to engage more on it, but it's a worry for me because it's a picture that is there for everyone to see. So what is then in the media, Commissioner, as part of the strategy, I said, this is how it works. Make them look bad. Oh, at last, the people at crime intelligence, they've been arrested because of the slush fund. We still have players at crime intelligence that were there in 2011 who are part of this plan, and they are still there today. Pran Mohotzis are referring to them. So I'm going to end it there.
As you end there, would I be correct, and I apologize if I interrupted you, I didn't mean to, would I be correct with reference to your statement that what you have just engaged the commissioners on is summarized at your paragraph 162? I would like you to have a glance there. Would that be a correct assumption on my part? Or at least interpretation of your statement?
That's correct.
Okay, so insofar then as your concern regarding the judiciary is concerned, and in particular this one magistrate, and in the specific case, you draw a conclusion at paragraph 163 that you may want to summarize.
If I were to read this one on my conclusion, commissioners, if you allow me, I say again, raise a concerning feature of this criminal investigation as well as its progression through the courts. The complaint originates from Mr. Adams, the Member of Parliament, and I've explained in my statement its dubious genesis. As to the role of IDEC, I fail to see how an employment matter of a mid-level employee rises to the level of serious, high-profile or complex corruption or unlawful activities arising from the State Capture Commission. This is where I am, because I believe this is what IDEC is about. But this is now about an employment of a mid-level manager employee that throws IDEC into the picture from the same complainant, Mr. Adams.
Thank you, General. That concludes then the conversation as regards the complaint against the magistrate. Chair, I see at 12:49 we are starting a new chapter. Should we start and then we'll break at 1?
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Thank you.
General, I'll invite you then to go to page 77, starting from 252. You deal from page 252 with a heading, with a subject that you had, historical interference with the criminal justice system. Would you take the commissioners through that aspect of your testimony?
Commissioners, when I spoke on the 5th of March 2025 in Parliament, I made a reference to the experience that I had from 2011. And what I see happening right now, it takes me back to 2011. And that makes me realize that I cannot just sit back and allow the irregularities that were happening in 2011 when I was the acting national commissioner to repeat itself, because it's going to become a culture, it's going to be embedded in how the justice system works in this country. Therefore, the citizens are not going to be safe. I've seen it in 2011 and it's happening again. As I said, commissioners, when you look at my profile that I presented on the first day, that I joined the top management structure of the South African Police Service in 2011 when I was appointed as an acting national commissioner appointed by President Zuma at the time. I must indicate that when I was appointed, the person that was the Minister of Police was Minister Mthethwa, Nathi Mthethwa. He was the Minister of Police. At that time when I was appointed, the South African Police Service were always in the media regarding the activities at crime intelligence. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi was in the center of that. So there were two matters that were always in the media. Was about the death of a murder incident that happened in Vosloorus, as well as the corruption within crime intelligence secret fund account. I think that's where the name /fund came from. The secret fund account that I spoke about earlier that must be accounted for the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence. It was misused. When I came in, there was already, General Mkhwanazi was already suspended. And he was suspended by General Cele at the time. That suspension was regarding the murder incident that happened in Vosloorus. When I came in and I asked the management about the status of the criminal case that I'm told is registered against General Mkhwanazi, which involves corruption of crime intelligence secret fund account, I was informed that there was no disciplinary steps initiated yet at the time. So I directed that we must initiate the disciplinary steps against the second charge, which is corruption. I brought General Mkhwanazi to brief him about it, and I appointed an investigating team to investigate, and in the concluded investigation, we are about to subject General Mkhwanazi to a disciplinary hearing. And then General Mkhwanazi, to my surprise, then contacts me and he says to me, his criminal case that is going to appear in the Commercial Crime Court in Pretoria is going to be withdrawn. the following day. So I was perplexed, and I said, but Jared Dramat, as the head of the Hawks, do you know about this? And he said, no, he's not aware. And indeed, commissioners, when the matter appeared in court, the matter was withdrawn. So I demanded to know the reasons for that. They finished me with a submission that was made by the Deputy National Head of NPA at the time, Advocate Mkhwanazi, where he gave the instruction to Advocate Mzinyati, who was a responsible for that case, and Advocate Mzinyati then directed a prosecutor who was working on the docket, Advocate Bredenbach, who's a member of parliament now, to withdraw the case. So the case was withdrawn, simply because of Advocate Mkhwanazi, regardless of evidence. But the reasons Mkhwanazi put on his letter was that the arrest of Mdluli, or this case being placed on the roll, it is not the responsibility of the SAPS, but it is the responsibility of the Inspector General of Intelligence. I explained earlier, commissioners, that crime will happen. If crime happens within the secret fund account, there must be audit, there must be accountability, and then the case must follow, which must be handled with care, but the case will follow. So similar to what is happening now, if there is any corruption within crime intelligence, that matter must be reported to the right structures and cases must follow thereafter. So at the time, the coordination of the information coming from crime intelligence to be given to an investigation team was facilitated by a senior officer within crime intelligence on an arrangement with DPCI. So the investigation was done correctly. But here's a case withdrawn and citing the reason that the Inspector General of Intelligence is the one who's got a jurisdiction on this matter. So I took the case docket from court, and I stopped the disciplinary matter. I channeled both of them to the Inspector General of Intelligence. The Inspector General of Intelligence is a late Advocate Hadebe. She worked with an advocate that is currently, or is not within Inspector General now, but she's practicing. I gave both of them the letters, these cases, departmental and criminal. And I received a response from Advocate Hadebe, the Inspector General, on a disciplinary matter, where he says, charge the CFO, was Major General Lazarus at the time, charge the CFO and not Mdluli, because it's the CFO that knows how to manage the secret fund account, and he used that to benefit Mdluli. Mdluli didn't know anything about it. So Mdluli is clear. So this is in black and white I receive. But I then said, I told Mdluli and the minister at the time that, yeah, the Inspector General is saying this, but I'm not going to implement this because I want a response on the criminal matter. Imagine me uplifting Mdluli's suspension, he comes to work, and the very same Inspector General says I must take the case docket back to court and Mdluli must go and face a criminal case while he's back at work. It's going to look bad for me, not good governance. So I said, I'm going to wait until I get the second response. The second response came on the phone call. Inspector General said, please come, bring that letter I gave you, because I want to withdraw it. So my question was, why do you want to withdraw? And she says, no, we have studied the case docket, and the reason advanced by the National Director of Public Prosecution is misplaced. We as Inspector General are not responsible for criminal investigation, but our investigation results into us producing reports to Parliament, Joint Standing Committee, not to take it to court. So this case, Mdluli must go and answer in court. So I gave her that letter. She withdrew it, and she wrote me a new letter to say Mdluli must go and face his music in court. So I then said to General Drama, DPCI, send the case back to court. And I called Advocate Jiba, Nomgcobo Jiba was the acting national director at the time of prosecution, and I informed her, I said, your deputy withdrew this case in court. I want you to now attend to it because you are the head of the NPA. And she said she's in China at the time, I must send it back to Mkhwanazi. And then I told the disciplinary team that continue with the disciplinary case on Mdluli. But now, to my surprise, commissioners, that Advocate Mkhwanazi wrote a second letter. And he said, I'm the National Prosecution Authority, we working independently. I've taken a decision on this matter, therefore it's final. Closed. That's how that case of Jaram Mdluli died. By the signature of Advocate Mkhwanazi at the highest office of the NPA. So he killed that case like that. I'm glad now he's resurfacing against that corruption case. But it should have been dealt with then. But we had the players of Advocate Mkhwebi in the highest office of the prosecution who decided, don't charge Mdluli. As I said, commissioners, when you do something that is bizarre, you make me to start asking questions. So I started asking questions as to why is this behavior? So as I was digging more, I started seeing a different picture, which maybe I might reflect to later. But the details of this thing I'm talking about is in the affidavit that I deposited at Zondo Commission. Feel free, is annexed, I think here, SC.
MK22, General.
Yeah, MK22. You'll be able to read it because it's got detail. It's quite a lengthy affidavit that I deposited about my experience at Crime Intelligence in 2011 to 2012 when I was acting, and how the secret fund account was misused by the players within Crime Intelligence that are still there today, that are fighting Khumalo today. They were there then, they are still there today. So there's never been any cleansing of Crime Intelligence, which is something the commission, I would want you to pay attention on it. But this issue of Mkhwebi to suddenly shut down the criminal investigation, which was a concern to me, and on it, while we are continuing with the departmental matter, after having received this letter from advocate to say Mdluli must go to court, I received a phone call from the same Inspector General of Intelligence when I was driving home. She said, I must come back and bring back that decision, the final decision she made about the criminal case, because she has risked her career with making that decision of saying Mdluli must be charged. She wants to withdraw that letter. So when I asked her, but why you want to withdraw the letter of a criminal case? You've read the case and you wrote to me and you say, Mdluli must go and face the music. Why do you want to withdraw it? And she said, no. It's my career now in line. So I need to withdraw that. I made a wrong decision. I should not have said Mdluli must be charged. Which means she touched the wrong people in the higher echelon of maybe within the police structures or in government that did not want Mdluli to be charged. And I refused to come back and withdraw the letter. And then I received a phone call from the Minister of Police, Nathi Mthethwa, commissioners. I went to his residence in Waterkloof. And when I arrived there, the Inspector General is sitting on one side of the table, Mr. Mthethwa is sitting on the other side of the table. The Minister says to me that I forced the Inspector General of Intelligence to write the letter that says, Mkhwebi is wrong, this matter must go to court. She said, I forced her. Then I told her, I said, no, Minister, Advocate Khateb is an old woman. She's an advocate. How can I point a gun at her and force her to write a letter? Besides, when this letter was written in her office, and she actually is not the author of the letter. The author of the letter is Advocate J. Governor, who is an experienced prosecutor person who's working in that office. She's the one that drafted the letter. Not you, not the Inspector General of Intelligence. That means I didn't want to hear any of that. A simple say, must stop prosecuting Mdluli, or must stop disciplinary case against Mdluli. Now, if we talk about political interference, that was the worst I've ever experienced. At that time, Commissioner, I come from the specialized operation. The only thing I know is to chase criminals. And I'm promoted to become the acting National Commissioner, and I'm confronted with this in front of me. And I said, but this is not what I signed for when I joined the police. This can't be right. The minister can't give me these instructions. Then I said to the minister, maybe you brought me into this position and you thought you were going to use me as a pawn because perhaps of my age or whatever, but you are wrong. I'm not going to do that. If you want me to stop charging Mdluli, you must put it in black and white. And then the minister said, no, Inspector General, you must give something in writing to the National Commission to stop this investigation. Inspector General said, no, come with me to my office so I can give you a letter.
In the light of Mr. Mkhwebi's final decision, was there an ongoing investigation? It
stopped there, Commissioner. I'm told that case started again afresh. So I don't know what's the status of it. I don't know who's handling it, but I've heard that it has started again. But that time, that's where it died.
I'm asking, in the light of you saying the minister said stop the investigation.
Well, it stopped because the case could not be enrolled in court because the second letter of Mkhwanazi that says stop. And after that, Advocate Bredenbach left NPA and became a parliamentarian. Maybe she will come here and tell you what happened, because she's the one who was handling that docket. I don't know the details within NPA, what politics was happening there. But I believe that is one of maybe the things that might motivated her to leave NPA. I do not know. But I'm talking about experience I had, was that Mkhwanazi had written a first letter and referred to the Inspector General. Inspector General responded back and said, this is not my terrain. And Mkhwanazi wrote another letter and say, my final decision. And that was the end of that case. But coming back now to the stopping of a disciplinary part, because although they are saying this in court, but disciplinary is within my control, I'm not going to stop it, not unless they write to me and they say I must stop. Inspector General, remember I said, commissioners, is the one who have an oversight role within the 6-rand fund account. So what she says to me in black and white, I must believe it, because she's the one who's responsible for monitoring the abuse of this fund and whether it is in use according to the rules set out within the intelligence space. So before I left with her to the house, I told the minister that I'm done acting. If you think me being the acting national commissioner, I must now bow down to the wrong illegal instructions that you're giving me. His words was, I didn't appoint you, it's the president that appointed you. So I told the president, I'll go and meet with him, but I'm done acting. So I went to the Inspector General's office, and I don't know whether it's my ancestors or whatever that helped me, because the letter that she had written me first, that cleared Mdluli and said I must charge the CFO, which she later withdrew, she did not destroy the letter. She archived that letter. And she issued me another letter which contradicts that one. Remember, the first letter said Mdluli is clean. Now that she's giving me another letter that talks about the case, she's saying, no, Mdluli is not clean. He must go to court. So those two letters are contradicting each other. But instead of destroying the first letter, she didn't. She archived it, and she withdrew that from the archive. She gave it to me. So I took that and I walked, contacted the president, and I told the president, I'm done acting. Then the president said, no, I'm going to get someone. And I went to meet management. I told all the generals, I said, prepare your exit, because whoever is going to come is going to deal with you harshly. And indeed, that's what happened, commissioners. The general was appointed, and I was made to go and sit at home in Montana for the whole year, which was fine.
I noticed that it's a good few minutes after 1.
Yes,
Advocate Sillo.
Absolutely.
I understood this to be an introduction to a point that what used to happen is still continuing. Between you and the general, you may want to discuss whether we want to go into this much detail.
In fact, not, Chair. But my assessment is actually he has delivered his message. His intention, in terms of the statement, was to indicate that whatever political interference he references now is not a new occurrence in his personal experience.
Yes.
The detail of what he speaks to is that entire submission at MK22. And which is the detail he has gone into. It's not entirely necessary for your purposes. You can read it at your leisure. And after lunch, I think General would be ready to move on to the next point now. Or
yes.
Unless you'd still want to touch on, to finalize anything of significance and insofar as historical interference is concerned.
Basic commissioners, why I'm referencing to this as I touched on the annex is that the challenges that I highlighted in the media on the 6th of July, it was a history repeating itself to my assessment. And I said, it cannot be that I allowed the Mdlula era, the Minister Mthethwa era, and under President Zuma to happen like that it's happening again now. And I keep quiet. I have a responsibility to bring this to the attention of the executive authority and to Parliament. And in failing that, I was left with no choice to tell the people that employed me, which are the citizens of South Africa, that what's going on in our system. So that's where my submission is, and I invite you to really look at that lengthy affidavit I deposited at the Zondo Commission.
Yes.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, General. Let's adjourn until 2 p.m.
Thank you,
Let's adjourn.